Hello and welcome to a beautiful evening here in sunny Nova Scotia, and welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. My name is Steve Farley. First of all, excuse my voice, I've got a bit of a cold today, but what I thought, June nearly over, and I haven't done a garden tour since those wasteland days of late April, early May, when there was probably still a bit of snow on the ground and there was nothing growing really. So what I thought I'd do is a bit of my vegetable patch tour today, and then another day I'll do my flowers that are starting to bloom and grow nicely. So I've got two vegetable areas, this one here and one on the other side of my shed, which I'll get to in a moment. So let's have a little look around, shall we? So on this side of the vegetable area I've got about 8 4x6 raised beds and two by I think 10 long beds to finish off, and a couple of triangles in the middle, and what's supposedly going to be a strawberry tower in the middle there at some point when I get round to it, but I haven't got round to it yet. So in this 2x10 I've got some broccoli, which is starting to grow nicely now. I think I better net that soon actually, before the caterpillars, for the butterflies getting amongst them. So, but they're growing nicely. I've got that is, oh, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's broccoli anyway, and it's one of those broccolis that produce more than just the one head. So you harvest the first head, and then you can keep coming back after that and harvesting more smaller florets. So that's a beauty, that one. Had that last year for the first time, and they're growing nicely now. So this here is my climbing beans frame, and I've got my favourite runner beans in there, individuals, and at the end here I've got, this is a purple bean I think. I put this in a couple of weeks ago and they're just starting to get themselves going now. I've also got this one here's a runner bean. He's starting to stretch himself in. I'm going to have to tie him in to get them going. I've got some blackberries, a couple of blackberries that I planted this year for the first time, so I'm looking forward to them. And I've still got the remnants of strawberries that I've still got in here because I haven't built my tower yet. But they're going nicely. I reckon in a few weeks' time they'll be producing some lovely strawberries. So that's in that 2x10. Looking good, everything so far. In this one here, this 2x10 here, this is all autumn fruiting raspberries, and they're coming on beautifully. They are looking good. I have to watch these in the autumn because of the early frosts. I got caught out last year and a lot of them got wasted, so I'm gonna have to find a way of maybe covering them if the frosts come in early. And obviously I've got to put some sort of frame around that before they grow too high. This bed here, beautiful. I've got white onions and red onions, and they're all coming along nicely. I've covered this side, bit of an experiment, covered this side in leaf mould to see how much better they get on, and this half not in leaf mould, but they all seem to be doing quite well so far, so that's good. This bed was my asparagus, and I had lots and lots of nice asparagus from this one and another one I've got in another bed. Now I'm just leaving these to let themselves flower and get their strength for next year, but I had a good yield out of them and I was really happy. Beautiful asparagus. This bed here, got more runner beans ready to race up the frame, and there's a few of them are doing nicely. If any of you saw, I planted up these yellow bush beans, so I've got eight yellow bush beans I planted, plus I actually put some seeds in there, so hopefully with a bit of succession they'll come up, and I'll have some extra yellow bush beans. They had a really good yield last year, and still more strawberries. Lots of strawberries in here still. Oh, they're starting to throw out their runners, if you can see there. I have to cut them off. But yeah, looking forward to some nice yield of strawberries. Next bed here, got some peas, and they are romping away now. So I've got sugar snap peas on this side, and what is supposedly a taller pea variety on this side, although they don't seem to be very tall at the moment. But either way, they're all going really well, and there's my bit of a homegrown supports there, and I've used these the last few years, and they do perfectly well, and it's obviously a lot cheaper than buying lots of canes, so that's really good. This bed is in a bit of a transition period now. This is my cut flower bed, and I did have tulips and supposedly daffodils, but the daffodils just didn't seem to perform. I never seem to get anywhere with daffodils in this garden. They maybe grow once or twice, and that's it, but these ones didn't even, they came up and didn't do anything. Most disappointed. But now I've got some cosmos, some young cosmos in there, and they'll start to grow soon, and lots of lovely flowers. And then I've got gladioli, if you can see, starting to come up now, and they'll be producing me cut flowers later on in the summer. So it's a bit of a transition. This bed here is very much a disappointment to me this year. I had spinach and rocket, or arugula as you call it, and it's just not really done anything at all. And I'm thinking it's this earth that I got delivered. It's just got nothing in it. So it was a bit of a schoolboy error on my part. The base of it has actually got lots of horse manure and compost in at below level, but I just obviously didn't mix it in properly, because the roots has obviously not got down very well, and yeah, just not performed. I've had a bit of spinach, but yeah, very not very good looking. But here are some lettuce that I sowed straight direct into soil, and they're starting to come through at least anyway, so that's not too bad. And now I've planted some cherry tomatoes in here, so hopefully they might do a bit better with the heat now starting to come on. Moving across, another particularly disappointing bed. This was direct sown rocket and kale, and you can see there, look, they obviously got eaten and they just didn't grow at all, and I've never normally had any problem before. So now, and the kale is looking not very good either, and this lettuce, they just sort of sat there really and not done a lot. So I'm going to have to admit failure on this bed so far. But now I've transplanted a load of manure in here again, and compost, and I planted a couple of tomatoes, and I've got some cucumbers around the edges, and I'll put some frames up for them, and hopefully with this better soil here, you can feel that already. Look at that. That should be a lot better. So I dug that in a really good amount for the cucumbers and tomatoes, so hopefully they'll perform better. And in this last bed on this side, I've got carrots sown, and they're all starting to come through now. So as you can see, there's a few lines of carrots there. And I'm going to sow another, there's a smaller line there, and I'll sow some more over the next couple of weeks, so I get a good succession of carrots over the next few months. Looking forward to that. So let's move over to the other side of the shed. So this is all my supposed projects of things like more containers and the strawberry pyramid that I haven't got to yet. So moving around here, in through my honeysuckle arch, which is just starting to grow nicely now, so that'll be a lovely profusion of flowers hopefully this year, and the hummingbirds love this honeysuckle. So here's some of the my cannas waiting to go into bigger pots in the swimming pool area, and just some other plants I've got waiting. Here's just a couple of garlic that randomly were in here, but this bed here is going to be for my sweet corn, and I've planted in the sweet corn. You can maybe just see, where are we? One there, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a few I've actually planted up, and I've sown a few as well. So hopefully they'll come up soon and block, come up nicely, because you've got to sow them in. These got to grow in blocks, haven't they? So I had a really good yield last year in another bed, and this has got plenty of really good compost in here. So a nice amount of fuel for them. And here's some, while I'm waiting for the sweet corn to grow, I've got a couple of rows of green onions going away nicely. I've already sampled these and they've been very nice. So this is a bed in waiting. And a funny thing actually with the composts, obviously still some seeds in there for my vegetables, so I've still got some kale coming up, and some, I can't remember the type of lettuce it is. No, can't remember it, that feathery type anyway, but they're all coming up on their own, so I thought I might as well leave them in here to grow while I'm waiting for the sweet corn to grow. So a bonus crop. So there we go. This was my nursery bed. So I don't know if any of you guys saw the video where I took hardwood cuttings of dogwood, a red and green variety of the dogwood, and if you can see there, a good 80% of them have taken. So I'm really pleased with that. So I'm going to let them grow on in here, and I'll plant them out in the autumn, and there'll be some nice red dogwoods for me over the winter, over next year anyway. So I'm pleased with that. Again, here was another asparagus bed, letting them go to seed now, and some more strawberries that were still in here, and they're all flowering nicely. And now I've planted this bed here up with tomatoes, so I've got a good amount of tomatoes in here that I've just planted up, so hopefully they're going to do me nicely. Got some kale here, that's just starting to grow now, and I've still got a pear tree that's waiting for a home that I haven't got round to doing yet. Here's the bed with my potatoes experiment. So I've got the earthed up potatoes normally done there, some self-seeded coriander or cilantro as they call it in North America, you guys, and here's my seaweed potatoes. I'm just being attacked by black fly as we speak. And here's some lovely chives that I just normally leave in here, so they're all growing nicely. So I'm really pleased with the seaweed potatoes so far, they're doing really well. Over here I've got some more green onions, and I'm doing not too bad in this this knocked up frame that I made. And I did have some other broccoli in here, but those pesky rabbits have had them. Here's the potatoes I'm growing in leaf mould, and this is my new contraption, my Spanish Inquisition looking torture chamber, which is going to be growing, what's it going to be growing? Oh yes, squash. I've just planted squash in there, and something's already had a go at that, cheeky monkeys. But there we go. I'm confident that that's going to be a good experiment, but we'll see. So moving along here, I've still got a load of tomatoes to plant up, and here along this fence here was 3 grapevines, but this one here, which I've been growing for the last couple of years, growing up nicely, hoping for some grapevines this year, the winter has taken it out, dead as a doornail, or a dodo, whichever you want. This one, again, has all died from the top. Fortunately, it's sprouting at the bottom. And the same with this one. Died all the way from the top. And just sprouted there down the bottom. And what I normally do along here is I grow sweet peas. So they're only small at the moment, but they'll soon shoot up. And I have a nice row of sweet peas for cut flowers all the way through the year. And they normally do really well. So I'll be pleased to come back and show you at a later date. So there we go. There's a little look round Farley's veg patch. Some stuff, I think majority of stuff's doing really well actually. Just my lettuce and my spinach has not really done well at all. Everything else is starting to grow really nicely, and I'm pleased with everything so far, especially the asparagus, and obviously the things that are going now. The peas are really shooting up, and the broccoli down just below me. Yeah, I'm really optimistic for the rest of the summer. So tune in next for my walk around all my different flower beds that I've created this year. Job's a good one.